Well, tonight, instead of the chamber team emceeing the entire program, we want to introduce you to somebody who's kind of a shining star here in Berryville. And as a Berryville Chamber, we want to promote our businesses and definitely help our entrepreneurs blossom. Real quick, I want to talk about this guy for a second. So JJ is the Ozark Hustle, and I'm not quite sure. He's going to tell us a little bit about what Ozark Hustle is. He's here in Berryville now, but by way of Dallas. You came from Dallas, right? Okay, welcome. We met this guy at Ice Cream Social 2 ice cream socials ago. If you guys haven't been to Ice Cream Social, it's June 12th to 13th on the Berryville Square, and you guys definitely need to make advance to come to it. But I need this guy at Ice Cream Social. Okay, but you see him where we meet people on the square, and he has an interesting idea. He's an entrepreneur, but I think about this guy often. It's because he literally gave me the shirt off his back. So how can I forget about you when I'm often wearing a super soft Ozark Hustle t-shirt? So JJ, welcome. Thank you for leading us tonight. I want to, let the crowd know that, we're trying to be the best little chamber that we can be, but we are not experts or professionals in all this. So give us some grace as we try to bring you a great program tonight.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Berryville Chamber Network and Event. I'm honored to serve as your host tonight. We're going to be making connections and, having conversations. You will be meeting with the candidates that you're going to see on the ballots. You get a chance to actually meet with them and get to know who they are and what they're standing for. I also want to thank you guys on behalf of the chamber. This is great to see how strong this community is. I just feel blessed to have a community like Berryville and all of Carroll County. What you guys done for me in my life, it's been blessed.
Good evening. As JG said, I'm Shauna Ritchie. I am the nurse at Tyson Foods, and I am blessed to be a representative of the businesses in our community. Thank you all for coming tonight. I would also like to thank the chamber members, ambassadors, and board for their continued commitment to our community. I would also like to thank our candidates for your willingness to be here tonight and to engage with our community members. Local government decisions have a direct impact on our businesses, workforce, citizens, and overall quality of life. What happens at the local level often matters most, and your presence here tonight reflects an understanding of that importance for staying involved and staying engaged in the local and state issues. Tonight is an opportunity to get to know the individuals who may become or remain our future leaders and to hear their priorities, better understand their policies and positions on issues that affect our community and our local economy. I would also like to extend a special thank you to Ashley Hinton, our chamber executive, for her leadership and the work that she has done in conjunction with our members to make this night possible. We encourage you to listen, ask one-on-one questions, share the knowledge you gained tonight with your family, friends, acquaintances, and community. Most importantly, we encourage you to vote. Thank you again for being here. Ashley, if you'd like to come back up.
Welcome again. I want to thank our sponsors for making this event possible. Kinetic is in the house. We want to thank them for sponsoring this tonight. Tanya Williams Shelter Insurance and Southern Paramedic Service. I also want to shout out the Berryville Community Center team for being such great hosts tonight. Be sure to check out this great canvas and ask the BCC team what they can do for you because you could have your event here too. Shout out to Wolf Paulo. She's doing our media tonight. So if you need a new headshot, photos, things like that, Miss Brianna Wolf can help you with that. So she'll be handling our media for the evening. So I want to thank all the candidates for coming as well, because we've never really done something at this scale. And I'm really thankful that you guys come together to make yourself available for our community. Some of you had some really long drives. I'm glad you got here safe, and I just can't thank you enough for this. And again, thank you Chamber Team, because we have an amazing team of volunteers. We have our board, our ambassadors, and they all do a really great job of coming together to whip up some tables and some snacks and then help break it all down at the end. But it's all about their passion for this community. Our chamber is currently growing and strengthening. We have a broad volunteer team of passionate individuals and entrepreneurs that want to see Berryville and our chamber be the best little chamber it could be. I have a message for our candidates tonight. Well, I wish you all luck. I hope we can have a peaceful and educational event tonight and make lots of meaningful connections. A chamber is a nonpartisan and neutral nonprofit organization. However, one of our roles is being advocates for our businesses and our business community, our chamber members. So advocacy plays a big role, and tonight was our effort to bring you all together so that when folks go out to vote, they know or have met who they're voting for. It's very dangerous for voters to go in uninformed. And I can say when I was younger, I definitely went in there, was excited to vote, but I didn't know half the names on there and just picked because I liked a name or something. So you really have to get informed. So I appreciate you guys, community, for being here tonight to meet these folks. But we're a very proud community. We're very excited you guys are in Berryville. If you're not from here, happy to bring you all together. So, and I also, put this in your heart tonight as candidates. Be blessed by your opponent. I know sometimes it can be very stressful when you're running against somebody, but if you didn't have an opponent, you wouldn't try harder. You wouldn't learn more. You wouldn't, so your opponents actually lift you higher, and you should embrace that tonight. So I'm going to bring JJ back in. We're going to kick this off.
My name is David Ryder, and I'm from here. My family is from here. I'm very alive here. My son, he's rented his family here. A local boy, and we're wanting to make Carroll County great. We want to do the things that will be a blessing to Carroll County. From our road department through our whole county government, we're working together to make it more efficient because we've got some dreams that we like to achieve in the future here. And the new courthouse, I'm proud of our radio system that is just coming online now. HyperReach software, early warning system. I'm so happy with that. I'm so happy for that. And I'm happy that God has put some people around me that have shared the same common dreams that I do for our county to make our county better than it ever has been. I'm not going to take up much time, but I do thank you all for coming. And you look great.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Jim Wallace, and I'm running for county judge. It's good to see you all, and I want to thank everybody real quickly who put this together. I won't go through the names. It's too big of a list, but it's good to see you all. Speaking of a big crowd like this is awesome. I hope you're all voting in the primary, even though it might only be a 10% turnout. What that means is you are doing representative government by representing maybe 9 or 10 other people who didn't vote. I've been a resident of Carroll County 27 years. I've owned my own business over on Blue Spring Road. Been there the whole time. Raised my 2 daughters here. They've grown up. They got the master's degrees. Now I have 6 grandchildren. They're wonderful. Little fun things, I might be known by some of you. I know a lot. I recognize a lot of you, right? But some of you may not know who I am. And so I'm going to go through a little bit of that real quick. For those of you who have been to Eureka Springs, you've been to the park and ride parking area, you see a 16-foot tall metal bird, painted steel. That's where mine works. I also have sculpture at the Arkansas Municipal League and the outdoor courtyard. I did the tiles for that area. I've done a lot of other work like that. That's my background. I taught art at the university level. I'm also 12 years in as a firefighter for Inspiration Point. I am an EMR as well. In fact, I was on a call this morning. I was elected best firefighter of the year in 2023, and I am a trainer. I am an engineer, so I keep busy with that too. My degrees are a Bachelor's of Science in Business Administration, Bachelor of Fine Arts, and a Master's of Fine Arts. I've taught at the university level at 2 different universities, and I'm also serving now as a constable for Western Carroll County. I did run for state senator twice in 2018, 2022, and now I'm running for county judge, as I mentioned. And I'm looking forward to longer term planning from our court and the judge's position as we anticipate a lot of the growth to spill over from Benton and Washington County, which seems inevitable to our county. I do have some concern for what the tariffs have done to our economy here and what they may continue to do as we go forward into the next year or two. Hopefully it'll turn out okay. And therefore, there's my slogan, smoother roads ahead. And I think that's all I want to say tonight. We'll see you around, I hope. Thank you.
The Chamber for boosting the event. I want to thank Mayor McKinney for his friendship down through the years. I'm a former mayor, and I kind of like mayors. I wish there were more members of Congress that were mayors. And I want to thank my opponent in November. We don't have primaries, thankfully, but Rob Ryerson is back there, and you'll have a chance to visit with him. You'll hear from him a little bit later on. And Rob and I go back a few years, and I have an enormous amount of respect for him. In America, the great contest of ideas happens in November. Now, we go through a process in the spring and summer around the country and picking our party faithful to represent our party and our beliefs at the national political level. And so we have this, what I call great contest of ideas, the general election in November. And you get a choice between the types and style and representation in government that you want. And you're going to have an opportunity in November to pick among people. There will be, I think, an independent in the race too. I'm not sure about the Libertarians. Oh, there's Mr. Hosfart. Yeah, good to see you. We will face off, and we will make our case, and then it'll be up to you to decide. And you'll have an opportunity to decide whether you want a larger government, give up more of your taxes, more of your freedom, have more regulations imposed on you. That's what the left believes. Or do you want limited government, lower taxes, a secure border, a strong national defense, respect for life, and the things that have, I think, been the hallmark of this great country for 250 years. And that's what I represent. But not just that, because all politics really is local. You're going to have an opportunity to check the block on somebody that not only has promised to serve Carroll County, but has delivered. Wasn't that long ago that we put money in the appropriations budget, $1 million, to help expand the Berryville Public Library. And I think the people associated with that library would tell you that their $2 million goal that year would not have been possible without that $1 million appropriation. Then when the mayor of Eureka Springs called me and said, we've got problems over at the Black Bass Dam, we went to work and got community project funding, $1 million+ to do the repairs and kind of re-engineer Black Bass Dam in Eureka Springs. And then most recently, in the last appropriation bill, we had $1.3 million-ish, somewhere in that ballpark, to make possible the first MRI in Carroll County. And I think that is laudable, that Congress would think enough of a small county like Carroll County and small communities over here, largely rural, to give them money out of the appropriations budget for projects important to them. So these are the choices that you're going to get a chance to make sometime. We've hit that limit of 3-minute mark. Thank you. I'll yield back the balance of my time. Urge you what?
Hey, thank you so much for being here. I like being with you this evening. Group of people that will take time out of a Thursday afternoon to talk about politics. Man, that's fantastic. And I appreciate Congressman Womack and his kind words. And I think I can express for all of us that, Congressman, you've been in our prayers over the last month or so. Yeah, deeply appreciate you and thank you. Now, can I take a little issue with something the Congressman said? This is the benefit of going second, right? Congressman Womack said that the left likes to raise your taxes and spend and spend and spend, and he's on the right and he wants to cut taxes and fiscal responsibility. And then he bragged about all the ways that he's spending money in ways that will benefit you. Do you see the irony there? I do. Listen, I'm running for Congress because I think our shared values are the things that ought to pull us together. And I'm running on the shared values of faith, family, and freedom. Now, faith is not that we all believe the same thing. It's that we believe in each other. We've gotten so divided in our country. It's so difficult to have conversations with family members, friends, people at church. If we're ever going to solve the big problems we have as a country, we need to trust each other again. Families come in all sorts of different shapes and sizes, right? It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. And we need to do everything we can to protect families and give them the opportunity to thrive. And what we have right now is a Congress that makes life more difficult, especially for working families. With the rising cost of goods, not doing anything about it, the rising cost of energy and not doing anything about it, the rising cost of healthcare and not doing anything about it, the rising cost of everything and not doing anything about it. We need a Congress that will actually work to protect our families and freedom. Freedom's one of our shared values. We're not as free as we used to be in the United States of America. We're not as free as we should be. You should have the freedom not to worry about if you're going to go bankrupt with the next health diagnosis you get. You ought to have the freedom to your kids or your grandkids to buy a house that they can afford. You ought to have the freedom to get health care when you need it. You ought to have the freedom to be able to vote without having to, pull out 10 documents to verify your maiden name. Listen, I'm Rob Ryerson. I'm running for Congress because I think the shared values of faith, family, and freedom are things that we can build on together because
Elsa, we've hit the 3-minute mark.
All right. Thank you. We all do better when we all do better.
I'm Tony Rogers. Most of you know who I am. I've been your prosecutor for a very long time, over 20 years. And I want to give you an idea of some of the things we do. State of Arkansas versus Eric Lopez. Major drug dealer, violent, aggravated assault, 52 years. Joseph Santiago, first-degree murder, life in prison. Evan Davis, first-degree murder, life in prison. Brian Charlotte, 3 counts of rape, 75 years in prison. State of Arkansas versus Frank Campbell, sexual assault, 30 years in prison. These cases are important because most of them, some of these cases, these sentences were passed out by juries at trial. And trial experience is very important. It's extremely important. When I was elected prosecutor, I had met the certifications to be appointed as lead counsel on capital murder cases. And to this day, I'm still the only lawyer in this county that has those qualifications. No one else in this county does. And I say that because this is very important. Right now we have 2 homicide cases, 1 capital case, and 1 and 1 first-degree murder case. There's a good chance at least one of them will have to be tried. And you need someone with major experience to do that. You need someone who's actually been in there and selected a jury and made opening statements, directed your witnesses, and cross-examined the defense witness. It's extremely important. Another facet of the job too is sometimes, and it's not always easy, is you have to hold people in high places accountable. You have to hold public officials. We prosecuted 2 years ago a Carroll County deputy who had defrauded the STEP program of over $11,000, which was a federal grant to pay overtime to officers who were out patrolling extra patrol. I just want to tell you, this is the time for experience and not on-the-job training. Thank you.
That's okay. Friends, neighbors, and members of the Berryville Chamber, thank you for being here and thank you for having me. I was told I have 3 minutes. And so as a teacher, that's usually just enough time to get the bell ringer up, do the attendance. But here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, there is no test after the lecture today, okay? Say amen, yeah. It's an honor to stand before you, men and women who open their doors early, closing late, meet payroll, serve customers, and keep this community moving forward. We gather here tonight not simply as candidates and voters, but as caretakers of something precious. Berryville's not just streets and buildings, you all know that. It's the sound of horns and doors on the square. It's the pride of a job well done. It is families who believe that if you work hard, treat everyone right, and keep your word, you can build a good life here in Carroll County. But if we are honest with ourselves, I believe we can do better. We can do better in how we support our small businesses, the backbone of our small but growing local economy. We can do better if we protect taxpayers. I believe that. We can do better in preparing our workforce, the kids that graduate from Eureka, Berryville, Green Forest, for the jobs of tomorrow, not the jobs of yesterday. This is not a time for hesitation, but I believe this is a time for greatness. Greatness is not measured by the size of a budget or the number of bills passed. It's measured by whether families feel safe, whether they feel secure, whether businesses feel confident, and whether young people see a future worth staying in Berryville for. I'm reminded of what Solomon wrote, see the people perish without vision, right? Vision matters, direction matters, and people matter. And I believe today a new generation offers a leader, not to cast aside the wisdom of the people who built this town, but to stand on their shoulders, to bring energy where there is fatigue, to bring vigor where there is malaise, and to bring representation where there has been complacency. I believe in a limited government that works for the people. I believe the people of Berryville should decide their own destiny. I believe in fiscal responsibility and public safety. I believe in defending the values that make our community strong, faith, and freedom. I believe that we stand at a new frontier, not of distant lands, but of local control, a frontier of economic growth, infrastructure improvements, and policies that invite opportunity rather than discourage it. A frontier where we decide whether we will simply manage decline or boldly shape the future. A frontier where we choose whether to make a place that our children will come back to or to carry on our town's great legacy. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that we will. And I believe that one way to start doing that is to vote Hunter Ribbick for State Representative, District 6. Thank you all.
Good evening, Carroll County. Oh, come on. It's like, good evening, Carroll County. I am Senator Fred Love, and I am running to be the next governor of the great state of Arkansas. So I am going to be like your favorite pastor. I will not be a bit too long. Here's some 3 things that you need to remember about me. But first, let me talk to you about this. I'm a husband of 25 years. I've married my college sweetheart. I have two wonderful kids, a 15-year-old and a 6-year-old. Kids do not keep you young, they keep you tired. So understand that. Here's the 3 things that I'm running on you guys. Number 1, economic development. You know, I always tell people, we do a great job of economic development in Little Rock, in the Central Arkansas. We've been knocked it out of the park over in Northwest Arkansas. But we need to create good paying jobs everywhere. And that starts with regional economic hubs. That starts with investing in our small businesses. And then ensuring our kids get the apprenticeship knowledge that they need to fill the jobs that are going unfilled. Number 2, you all, no matter how you feel, we must protect Medicaid. See, I was in the legislature. I've been serving you all for 16 years in the legislature. I was there when we passed the Affordable Care Act. And I would love to say that we passed the Affordable Care Act so that we could give our kids his insurance. But that's not the fact. We passed the Affordable Care Act because our rural hospitals were closing at record rates. You all, we must protect Medicaid so that we can protect the way of life in rural Arkansas that values everyone. Number 3, I will tell you this. Let's protect public education. We're spending over $300 million. You clap. Well, Uncle, I only got boy business yet, right there. We had spent over $300 million in private school, private education vouchers. You all, if we made an investment like that in our public education system, let me tell you what that means. We would invest, we have 10,000 third graders, 10,000 that are facing going back to third grade because they're not on grade level reading. Let's start with investing in our kids like that. Let's start in feeding our kids. We are number 1 in food insecurity, you all. We are number 1. You all, we cannot send our kids home hungry. We have to make sure they have a quality school lunch. And number 3, in public education, we have to invest in their mental health services because our kids are suffering silently. You all, my campaign is about investing in the people of Arkansas. I'm getting to my time because this gentleman is coming up. I am Senator Fred Love. A vote for me is a vote for you because I am investing in the families and the people in Arkansas. Thank you all.
My name is Jeb Little, and I'm running for U.S. Senate, and Tom Cotton does have an opponent in the primary. I'll start out by telling you all a bit about myself, and then I'll get into why I turned my life upside down and joined this race. I'm a 7th generation Arkansan, but born and raised in Southeast Arkansas. I went to Washington Baptist University, where I got a degree in biology and a minor in chemistry. After college, I enlisted in the Arkansas National Guard as a medic, and then when I finished training, I worked as a counselor for 3 years at Youth Incorporated, which is a psych ward for abused and troubled kids. And then in 2020, when Antifa was burned down our country, I got a belly full and I joined the Arkansas State Police, and I requested to work in Little Rock. I was a trooper in Little Rock for 4.5 years. And for the past year and a half, I've been serving here in Carroll County as a trooper, and I love this community. I say all that to say this: I am not a career politician, and I am sick of career politicians speaking for me. Y'all, I first decided to join this race because on September 10th of last year, both of my senators let me down. Both of my senators voted to table a motion that would have released the Epstein files. That didn't sit right with me. As someone who has worked with traffic kids, as a father of 3 and as a Christian, I felt convicted, and so I joined this race. I will say that both senators got it right a few months later and changed their vote. But that's not something that anyone should have to get right on. That should be a slam dunk, win, straight out the gate. I'm also running y'all because I'm tired of being the Globe's checkbook. 12 years ago, we were $16 trillion in debt, and I thought that was the end-all be-all. We are now approaching over $40 trillion in debt. I have 3 young kids. I've got to leave them something better than what we've got now. I'm getting close to my time, I think. I'll end with this. I'm pro-life, I'm pro-gun, and gosh dang it, I am pro-tournaments. Thank you.
Beasley, I'm not Brian. I am his wife, Shanna. I was told about 2 minutes before this started that I would be speaking. I'm not a public speaker, so bear with me. I just want to say, vote Brian King. Brian King has been endorsed by Right to Life in Arkansas. He's been endorsed by the gun owners. He believes in local control. And too often, the people in Little Rock are acting like the people in Washington and not letting us have local control. He is there for you when he doesn't vote. It's because there's a stack of bills that may have 20 bills in there that we all don't want, and one thing in there we may support. So he's not going to put those 20 things off on all of his constituents. So just want to say he's sorry that he can't be here as well tonight. And thank you so much for putting this on.
So yeah, my name's Christopher Hosabar. I think I'm the only Hosabar in the state, to be honest, but I haven't gone through and checked. But I am running as an independent for U.S. House District 3. So I'm a teacher and a scientist. I'm not a politician. You know, I'm not trying to sit here and spend my entire career flying from here to D.C. What I want to do is make a better country for the kids that I'm teaching and the family that I want to have. Because I'm sitting here every single day going to work on my PhD so I can teach at the university level, and I'm dealing with increased housing costs, increased healthcare costs that I can afford and many that I know can't afford. And I'm seeing in Arkansas, a place that I've grown to love and I never want to leave, become one of the worst states in education, healthcare, and housing, and hunger in our kids and our families. I just don't think that's okay. So, a little bit more about me. I have my bachelor's in physics. I have my master's in material science, and I've always wanted to teach. And so I'm trying to work on my PhD to teach at the university level. And so while I sit here and I go work in the lab 8, 9, 10 hours a day, you know, I have to deal with the problem we've had with tariffs, where all of the materials we try and grow and research for the better technology of the future, you know, the costs go up. They cut the National Science Foundation funding in half. And if the costs go up and we have less money to spend, we can't make progress. So the United States, as well as Arkansas, is now falling behind in research, and that shouldn't be the case. We're one of the richest and the greatest countries in the world. We should be the greatest in technology and the greatest in research, and we can. I know the people who every day they research, and these are some of the greatest people I had ever met. So, you know, when I think about the issues we're really dealing with, I really do think the party politics are preventing us from making progress. And that's why I'm running as an independent. I don't want, you know, a corporate interest telling me what to do, no party telling me what to do. I'm trying to represent the people here in the 3rd district and the people who actually vote, not wherever the money and all the politics comes from, because they aren't voting. It's every one of us who votes. And I really agree to some of the things that the candidate said. I'm tired of money and politics who are running for a party telling me what I need instead of representing what I need. So I'm running to represent the real issues we deal with here in Arkansas every day, and that's the hunger, the healthcare, the housing, and that's why I want to work on. And so not these corporate interests. I don't want to let, you know, the AI that's coming take our jobs or steal your identity, or, you know, let any of these private investment firms come buy up all the homes that we need for families. And that's what the homes are supposed to be built for, is to build your family. And so that's what I'm trying to work for. So I'm running as an independent for U.S. House District 3. I thank you guys for holding this. I thank you for your time.
Good afternoon, Berryville. I'm so excited to be here in Carroll County. I'm Kelly Graff, and I'm running for Secretary of State. And I just want to thank the Chamber. First of all, I don't see Ashley, but Ashley has said that Berryville is going to be the best chamber in the state. And don't y'all think for a minute that I won't be taking that everywhere and challenging all the other chambers. But the chamber is really important. So I just want to say thanks for this. As a 24-year business person in the telecommunication industry, I spent a lot of time traveling around working with chambers as I was working for Verizon, opening retail stores across the state. So my husband and I live in Rosebud. We have a little farm in White County. And I am running for Secretary of State because I believe in the power of the people, and I believe in the Constitution. Thank you. The Secretary of State is a constitutional officer, and the first job of the Secretary of State is to protect your vote. I am passionate about that. I believe that we have a solid system, but don't think for a minute I'm not going to get under the covers and look at all the things. But I do believe we have a solid system, and I believe we need more people participating in it. My husband and I run a little nonprofit where we do training each month for a group of high school seniors. I was so excited to see the crew over here from the AP class at Berryville High School, because we believe that young people are not just our future, but they're our now, and we've got to listen to them. And I believe that we've got to get more voices at the table. We're planning to register 50,000 new people for this election, y'all. Right now, people are so tired of politics. Everybody has said it. And I'm a Democrat. We should say it right up here for you. I'm a Democrat. Don't shoot me. But I believe the Secretary of State's office should not be political. It is an office that you shouldn't have to worry about how I feel ideologically or what I believe on any of the stuff, because you know what my job is? To uphold the law. And I'll stand right here in Berryville at the Chamber of Commerce event and tell you all I'm committed to upholding the law. Our state motto is Regnat Populus. My husband's wearing a shirt that says it. It means in Latin that the people rule. That's been our state motto since before we were a state. We were talking about it. I believe in the power of the people, and I think that starts right here in this room. I'd appreciate your vote. KellyGrapp.com. I'm Kelly Grapp SOS on all the social channels. I'd love for you to follow me. I'm wide open and transparent. I'll answer any question that you've got. And it's great to meet you. Thanks for having me.
Hello, Lord Berryville. Well, it's so good to see you. You probably don't remember me, but I campaigned extensively in this area years ago when I was running on a statewide campaign with Win Rockefeller, if you remember it. And so what a wonderful testimony in life that they had an impact on this state. So anyway, I'm here for Kim Hammer. I'm not Kim Hammer. I'm much better looking than Kim Hammer. I'm really funny too, so this is really working out well. Kim Hammer is running for Secretary of State. He's a longtime legislator. And I'm going to give you 2 reasons that I would vote for him. Besides, he's a friend of mine. And we have a material on our table, and I wish you'd pick that up as well. He was one of the lead sponsors on working on our elections. The Secretary of State tries to make sure that your vote gets counted. And I want your vote to count. And I want my vote to count. And I want legal votes to count. That makes a difference. And so we want that to happen. And that's following the law, as she was saying a few moments ago. We want that to be there. He was the lead sponsor on that. And the Heritage Foundation even said that Arkansas has the best election counting of the vote in the whole country. So we got a good system, but we can make it better. The second thing I want to tell you about, you probably don't realize Secretary of State's office has a lot to do with business and the licensing and all of that. He has this interesting idea of taking the Secretary of State's office, seeing the feasibility of it, putting it in several different parts of the state so that it might get closer to the people. It might get easier to work on a website that allows you that opportunity to go through the system in a lot more efficient way, in a transparent way. Wouldn't it be great if government was a little more transparent? It should be. If it's not, it makes you wonder, but that's another story. Another funny line that you'll just don't get. I understand. But pick up our material, vote for Kim Hammer. He has opposition in his primary, and get him on the ballot. And I think Arkansas will be very pleased with what he does. I know Kim. He was conservative before he ran for office. He was conservative while he's in office. And he's going to be conservative as he continues to serve the people of this great state. May God bless you this day. It's great to be back in Berryville. Y'all actually voted for me a lot, in a way. Second place is not good in politics. Anyway, thank you.
Good evening, Berryville. Man, I'm the mayor down in Louisville in southwest Arkansas, and I need an airplane to get out here, huh? So my name is Mayor Ethan Dunbar. I am a man of God and the current mayor of Louisville, Arkansas. and I'm seeking a Democratic nomination for the United States Senate. And I've decided to enter this race because of the divisive and the corrosive nature of our politics. It seems as though our elected leaders care more about their party or themselves than they do about their constituents. And I entered this race so I can represent rural Arkansas, the underserved and the most vulnerable among us. I feel like that's my divine duty. Let us pray. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Gracious Father, we thank you for this gathering today, and I pray that what's said and done here is pleasing in your sight. In your Son, Jesus' name, amen. So, I retired in 2015 after 34 years of honorable service in the United States Army as a Command Sergeant Major. Thank you. So I moved back home to Louisville, which is my home, and we formed a nonprofit organization to kind of address the needs and the voids we noticed in our community. I'm in my second term as mayor, and I'm a member of the Arkansas Lions Club. I served as the district governor for District 7 South in 2020-2021, and I'm an active member and past president of the Standards Rotary Club. I'm a 33rd degree Mason, and I'm a proud gun owner. So during my time in service, I went to school at nights and weekends, and I earned my bachelor and my master's degree from the University of Maryland. Also, as a sitting mayor, I went to school at the UCA in Conway, and I earned a PhD in leadership, going to school at night, and I eat things. Say, my dad used to tell me, boy, get some fat on your head. That was his way of saying get an education. And that stuck with me all those years. So I am running in this race, and I'll tell you, I heard talk about schools and hospitals. I live in rural Arkansas every day. My wife's on the school board. Rural public schools need funding. They need help. Period. Real about you. Thank you. We're watching these schools close, and we're seeing poor, impoverished, low-income families who don't have a way to get their kids to a private or a charter school, and we don't have public transportation. We got to fix this problem. We got to fix this. So I offer myself, and right behind that is our rural hospitals. We lost our hospital years ago, and I'll just say this. I firmly believe healthcare should be a right. A child should not have to suffer with sickness and illness because their parents can't afford insurance. That's ridiculous to me. I offer myself as a candidate in this Democratic primary, and I hope you would give me some consideration. Thank you all.
I'd like to thank everyone that made this possible. I'm glad to see you all. I'm Blaine Coultney. I'm a local resident. My great-grandfather homesteaded here, and we lived here since. I lived in the county all my life except 8 years, and part of it was when I was served in Vietnam. I'm running for District 4 because I live in a rural area. Most of our JPs live in the city or close by, and I think we should live out in the rural area to see what has happened. In my area, and I know it's in yours, in the last 3 to 5 years, traffic has increased probably 50%. And we have had any better roads. We got more taxpayers. And our infrastructure should be it better. It is not. And all along, I've led it. So I'm not going to promise you a change in Carroll County. But I will vote for the best answer of you and your tax dollars. But that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Hello, Berryville. Hello, Carroll County. Last summer, my wife of 26 years and my 2 girls and I made the decision that I was going to run for the Arkansas Court of Appeals. And I have learned while campaigning that people's first question is generally, what's the Arkansas Court of Appeals? And that's because it's an anonymous court. You're not going to pay your traffic ticket there. You're never going to be a culprit jury duty there. It's not the Supreme Court. The Arkansas Court of Appeals is the court that I like to describe as the quality control court on activist judges or judges that think they're legislatures at the trial court level. So what's the best candidate for a appellate court judge? To me, that is someone who has spent their entire career trying the kinds of cases to juries that end up in appellate court and practicing extensively in appellate court. And for the last 21 years, I have been a prosecuting attorney, both for the state of Arkansas and the United States of America. I now serve as the prosecuting attorney for Washington and Madison counties. In those capacities, I have tried more cases to juries than I can easily count.
violent cases where someone needed a voice in court to stand up and fight for justice for them. As a federal prosecutor, complex cases, cases that have international ties like drug trafficking. Because those are the kinds of cases that I have worked on, I've also spent an extensive amount of time practicing in appellate court. For over a decade, I represented our country before the Eighth Circuit Court of Appeals, and for context purposes, that's a step under the United States Supreme Court. Did that in my capacity as an assistant United States attorney. I would venture to say on the ballot that you're going to have before you, and I'm going to be listed on that ballot as prosecuting attorney Brandon Carter, I have more appellate experience than any other lawyer you're going to hear from tonight or will be on your ballot, with the exception of maybe the Supreme Court candidates who aren't here tonight. My time as a prosecutor has given me a real sense of what justice means to Arkansans and to Americans, because I spent the last 2 decades representing Arkansans and Americans. I'm not a politician, okay? It's common theme you keep hearing tonight. A bunch of people that are not politicians. I'm certainly not a politician. I'm a trial lawyer. I have a deep-rooted belief that judges should not be politicians. A judge who's a politician is more likely to be an activist. A judge who is a politician is more likely to be a legislator. A judge who's a politician may use this position to try to better their own career. I just want to continue to serve the people of Arkansas, this time as an appellate court judge, as I have for the last 20 years. But we elect our judges. Okay? So it's ironic in that I have to ask you to vote for me now. All right, so anytime between now and early voting and March 3rd, I would appreciate your vote. Brandon Carter for the Arkansas Court of Appeals. Thank you for having us here tonight. God bless you. Appreciate your time.
Good evening. I'm Judge Sarah Capp, and I am glad I am here tonight. I love seeing a room full of people. The Bill of Rights doesn't protect itself. Our courts do. And in the state of Arkansas, we get to elect the judges that sit on those courts. And that is so very important. When I first ran for this position, it was because I felt like I had the skill set. Now I want to explain to you what the Court of Appeals actually hears. As a private practice attorney, I handled all areas of the law. I did the adoptions, the guardianships, the custody actions. I was a public defender for 15 years. I spent a decade in juvenile court, where I represented children and I represented parents. I was a city attorney for a number of years, and I also represented adults in circuit court that had felonies. I have seen our courts from every angle. I understand the aspects of communities. I understand the aspects of families, and I understand the perspective of the court system. I first ran for public office because I wanted the laws to work better for real people, working families, small business owners, and victims that deserve to be heard. At the foundation of who I am is my faith, my family, and a deep respect for the law. I've been married to my best friend going on 22 years, my husband Eric. He is a coach and he teaches computer science. We have 2 wonderful children. They're in high school. Our boy is 17. Our girl is 15 years old. I believe in personal responsibility. I believe guilty criminals need to be held accountable. And I believe victims always deserve a voice. Since I've been on the bench, I've heard 30,000 cases. 30,000 real people have stood in front of me, and they've asked for fairness, accountability, and for the law to be applied correctly. I don't believe that all politicians are bad. I'm proud of the fact that I've been previously elected to office and Arkansans put me there. I think our actions are based on our conduct, and I believe in running positive campaigns. So I would love to have your vote. Vote early, vote on March 3rd, but I just want your vote. So please remember Judge Sarah Capp. Thank you.
Thank you guys for coming out. Thank you, Chamber, for hosting this, and Ashley and all of your compadres on putting this together. Thank you so much. It's a great event. And thank you, audience, for coming and being a part of this process. I am Bobby Ballinger, Jr. I'm running to be your state senator because I believe that you have the right to representation, every vote, every time. My wife and I raise our family in South Madison County on a small farm. We serve on our local fire department and serve in our church. I used to live in Berryville and a current member of the Berryville Chamber of Commerce. So Berryville has been very important to me in my life. My dad used to run Berryville Abstract Title back when it was named that. And I remember after school coming, hanging in the back room, scanning old abstracts. And so Berryville is very important to me. I'm not ashamed to say that I am a proud conservative Republican. I support President Donald Trump, and I've been endorsed by Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders. She's actually coming next Tuesday. We're doing a meet and greet on Tuesday, 9 to 10 a.m. over here at Janie's here in Berryville. So everyone's welcome. We'd love to see everyone there. But I will show up. I will work hard, and I will represent you every vote, every time, because I think that you have a right to that representation. I don't want Arkansas to end up like California, end up like New York. That's not going to happen on my watch. No stacks of bills. You have plenty of time to work through those. You have plenty of time to know what's good, what's bad. And most of it's bad, vote no. Most of it's good, vote yes. Vote both so that you can be held accountable and give an answer for that vote back to your people. I'm Bobby Ballinger. I'm running to be your state senator. I do humbly ask for your vote on March 3rd. Thank you, God bless.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Diana Barrett. I'm candidate for Carroll County Judge. I wanted to thank the Chamber of Commerce here in Berryville for bringing this together for everybody so we all can make informed decisions about who's going to be on the ballot that you're going to take tonight. The county judge is the CEO of the county. The county judge sets the tone. Carroll County needs leadership that shows up, listens, and gets results. Leadership that is professional, accountable, and respectful. Too often we've seen government operate the other way. Citizens dismissed, contracts handled without proper oversight, and decisions made behind closed doors. This isn't about politics, it is about doing government right. Working in county government for over 28 years has given me firsthand experience navigating complex rules, laws, and managing resources responsibly, delivering results for the people I serve. I retired as a senior contract and purchasing services officer after 9 years, and that experience will help me move forward with the county government contracts throughout today. I've seen what works, what doesn't, and how important it is to follow the law, to maintain transparency, and to keep citizens informed. Carroll County deserves leadership that does all of that every day. Sometimes public funds are spent in ways that may technically follow the rules, but they do not serve the community that they should. For example, spending $475,000 on an experiment of whether or not a building can be built. This is not good use of taxpayer dollars. Those monies could have gone towards fixing our roads. Maybe not have fixed all of them, but they could have helped. Misguided priorities, lack of oversight, or decisions made without full input from residents undermine the public trust. This isn't about assigning blame. It's about making sure government works for the people that it serves. As your judge, here's what I will focus on. Fiscal responsibility and contract oversight. Every contract will be carefully reviewed for risk, value, and transparency. I will end wasteful or poorly managed agreements and make sure residents know how their money is being spent. Roads that last. Temporary fixes on our roads are not enough. I will implement long-term planning, proper oversight, and efficient use of funds, which will make our roads safe and reliable for families, businesses, and emergency services. No excuses. Access for all. Every citizen concerned will be heard. No emails dismissed, no voices minimized, no intimidation. Your input matters. The government should work for the people, not for politics or processes that leave your voices unheard. I'm Diana Baird, running for Carroll County Judge. Please select me when you go to the ballot. Thank you for your time.
Thank you all so very much for coming, and thank the Chamber for putting on such a wonderful event. My basic theory on running was I wanted to meet you. I wanted to get in the room when you talk to you. It's not about the signage. It's not about the text messages you're getting. It's not about the emails or blasts. It's about me talking to you, what I want to do for Carroll and Boone County. I have a book on the desk over there on the red table of 15 bills that I want to submit. So you're not going to hear a bunch of beautiful things about the color of our skies. Like that. No, I have real bills that I would like to bring forward for Arkansas. Most of them have to do with taxes. I despise taxes, specifically taxes that can take your property away from you if you somehow find yourself in a position where you can't repay for the stuff you already own. Is there a way to get rid of property taxes? Yes, it's a trade-off. A little bit of excise taxes, an increase of sales taxes, but no more government lien on your property. I think that's extremely important. And then once you buy a car, you pay sales tax. Why are you getting taxed on it every year? Get rid of personal property taxes as well. A little bit about my experience. I have 33 years in county government, most of it in management. My background as far as education, I have a Bachelor of Science, Computer Science, and I have a Master's in Business Administration and Financial Management. So these aren't experiments that I'm coming up with. I'm running the data analysis on all these pieces as well. There's also a little bit of ugliness in District 6 that I do have to bring out. There are 3 of us running. 2 of us are here tonight, Hunter and I. Third individual is not here, but you probably heard a lot from him. I call him kind of like the pack rat because 75% of his money comes from Little Rock, Fayetteville, and Rogers. For some reason, District 6 is up for sale, and I think that's wrong. So I'd say that the people that show up here tonight or talking to you tonight are the ones you should really consider when you vote for District 6 for the House. If you want to see the bills that I've got written, I've got them online. I've got them in that binder. If you don't agree with me, then you have an actionable item not to support me. But if you want to get rid of the taxes and you do agree with me, I'm your guy. Thank you very much. Vote Stephen Bear, District 6, House of Representatives. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming out tonight. My name is Bo Allen, on the ballot, Robert Bo Allen. I thank the Chamber for bringing this together. Y'all do a wonderful job of keeping everyone motivated and born to connected. I live here in Berryville. I'm married to my wife, Erin. She graduated at Reach Springs High School. We have 3 children, twin girls in 10th grade that's going to be driving in a few weeks. Everybody help me out on that. We have sons in the 8th grade in Berryville. He couldn't draw or keep away from baseball practice today, so he's not here. A little bit about my experience. I started my career in Little Rock. I was in civil litigation for a short time, and then I was at the public defender's office in Little Rock, and I was on the murder trial team. We tried a few capital murders at Little Rock, and I was in the busiest criminal court in the state, twice a day, 5 days a week. I don't know how many thousands of felonies I've handled, but I'd probably say I've handled more felonies than anyone in the county. And I've also been on our drug court team, longest standing member of our drug court team in Carroll County. We, for 18 years, and I've learned a lot about addiction and rehabilitation. Here's my vision for Carroll County. I've developed this plan over the last 20 years. I've been in the trenches. I've been in court all the time. What we have to do is we have to figure out who needs to be in prison, and we have to put them there longer. And secondly, we have to figure out who could be helped and help them more.
I've been a criminal trial attorney for 22 years. It's easy to put people in prison. That's what we do. You can do it in your sleep. I've tried many cases. I've been trained by some of the best lawyers in the state and in the nation. But what we have to do is we have to decrease the recidivism and the revolving door that we see all the time. The same people in and out of jail, in and out of jail, over and over and over. Just a small example. I can't say what I want to do in 3 minutes. Please come and talk to me. But just an example. We put most people on probations here, supervised or unsupervised probation in all these cases. And we tell them to go pee in the felt once a month of our drug test and go back to their neighborhood. And we're surprised we see them over and over and over again. So something I want to do, and this is just a small example of all my plans, if I put someone on probation, we're going to have a risk needs assessment. And this is not pie in the sky. This is stuff we can start doing today. We could have been doing it for a while. We're going to identify needs: housing, food, employment, education, mental illness, addiction. What are your issues? We're going to develop a goal-oriented specific plan, and we're going to supervise them to try to fix it. If they fix their issues, great. Benefits society, benefits their children, benefits the whole system. If they don't, they're not ready yet. Then we'll remove them, because there's only two ways to cut down on recidivism: remove someone from society or help them fix their issues and attack the root cause of the criminal behavior where they're not engaged in the same type thing. I see a map in my mind with every contact with the criminal justice system. I want to do something with purpose to attack that root cause of criminal behavior. Even in juvenile court, it's not little Johnny's fault that he's not going to school in second grade. In juvenile court, I want more of a family-involved situation. We go in, when they're in court, we can make the parent a party of the case or family in need of service, or we can have a case manager to identify some needs and help that out. I want to attack it from all angles. Break the cycle. We can do something with purpose in every case. I ask for your Bravo Boal. Thank you very much.
And Ms. Connie Doss, our county clerk, is going to share a little bit of information on voting info. So Connie Doss is in the house if any of you have actual questions about the voting process. Thank you, Connie.
Hi, I'll make this quick because I know that everybody wants to get out there and do some networking. So I just wanted to remind you that when you go to the polls, early voting is from 8 in the morning until 6 in the evening. Thank you, Carroll County News, for getting that in the paper for us. Saturdays, it's 10 to 4. We have a new location in Green Forest. So if you're over in Green Forest direction, you'll stop by the train depot over there. We also have the Methodist Church here. And then in Eureka Springs, St. Elizabeth's on Hash and Play Road. Also, just to note, we are a semi-closed primary now. Okay, so I would encourage you to go to VoterView. Okay, you could ask me, I'll be happy to look you up, and make sure that if you wish to vote, make yourself an open primary person where it allows you to vote in any primary, whichever party you choose. Then let's make sure that you are listed as an optional or as a different, that's the best thing, is to just list you as optional. And we're not going to discourage you. If you want to, however you want to do it, we will make you where you can vote. Okay. So I'm going to be kind of floating around. If you've got any questions, if you want me to check your voter information, I will be happy to do that while I'm here. Thank you. Thank you very much.